Hey, TikTok, Jim Malone here. Simultaneously telecasting on Periscope, PCTV, PSCP.TV / Dallas Trading Floor, and on YouTube, youtube.com / Dallas Trading Floor. And just wanted to get to it today. Thanks for stopping by and taking a look at my little show that I do every day on every market day that the market is open. I try to be on the on TikTok at 2:30 Central Daylight Time. That's Chicago and Dallas time. That's when I come on, typically on TikTok, for about an hour of just kind of an overcap of kind of what I'm doing to trade, and also what the market is looking like out there. Um, First slide I have up is, of course, the today's market slide, and we are still in a confirmed uptrend. It's absolutely amazing. The Nasdaq today is up almost 1% when this slide was taken. Oops, I have a little issue on my camera here. Hopefully, I'll get that squared away. There we go. All right, a little bit of an issue. And it's coming it's coming up nicely. Confirmed uptrend. S&P 500 is over that 3,000 level. It's just amazing. I have been talking about that 3,000 level for a while. It seems to be, if it moves above this and about 205 to 208, 305, 3,005 to about 3,008, I think that, we may be even seeing more of an uptrend. The retail numbers were better today than everybody was expecting. It's amazing. I mean, people are actually seem like they're going back in the stores, and at least for now, it seems like we are in a confirmed uptrend. So this is not a good time to short the market. And it's a good time to be long. It's the tech sector is again, powering this move upward. So here you go. It seems like the tech sector has been the the reliable sector of all. Now, just wanted to show you this slide for market volatility. This is how the VIX is calculated. Basically, and I'm going to show you this on the slide if you can see it. Again, I'm going to be simulcasting this on pscp.tv / Dallas Trading Floor and also on YouTube. But as you notice, the trend on the VIX, the trend on the volatility is down. So believe it or not, it looks like we may hold on to some of these gains based on this volatility index. It's up a little bit today, 1.5%, but 28 is a very acceptable number. As you can see, when we had the downturn, we were above 80. As a matter of fact, we topped out approximately May 23rd at an 85 number, which is extremely high, but it's trending down. It's still not down to the levels it was prior to the big drawdown in the market, but it is moving is moving down. So it just seems like there is a very good trend here going on. I'm amazed at this because I thought we would see more resistance from this, but we're definitely not seeing that resistance here. So very interesting. Just wanted to show you a slide of the spider. The volume's down a little bit on the spider, but it's at an extremely acceptable 305.86. And if you notice, it's well above the 200-day, the 40-day moving average here. The volume is picking up, and it seems like people are coming back into the market. Just for those who don't know what the spider is the world's largest ETF, and basically it tracks the S&P 500 based on the valuations of the various stocks. All the big stocks are in there, like Microsoft and Apple, and even even stocks like the oil company. So it really is very, very broad, and it's really the index that you really should look at, the S&P 500, rather than the Dow Jones. People talk about the Dow Jones, but there's only 30 stocks, and they're mostly industrials in that Dow Jones. So it's really the S&P 500 that is the important, the very, very important index that you want to look at. And of course, the spider is what tracks is that. All right. First call from the floor. Hello, Jim. I bought Facebook at 235, but right now it's down. Do you think 235 is a good buy? Actually, I would hold on to it. Here's what I would do. In your case, here's a way you could pick up a little bit of money on this Facebook trade. I'm currently in Facebook. I bought it a little bit lower than that. But I'm currently in the Facebook trade. Sell a call. Look to see what the June 5th. Look to see what the June 5th 240 call is on Facebook. I don't have that right in front of me right now, but I suspect that you can pick up probably, if you have 100 shares, you can probably pick up some money on that. That's what I would do. I wouldn't sell Facebook right now. I think it's going to go higher. I just think the fundamentals for Facebook are just very good, and I'm in Facebook. I'm really only. It's odd because normally I'm in more stocks than this. I'm only in 2 stocks right now: Facebook and Tesla. So, that's a definite definite thing on there that you want to be holding on that Facebook. Again, the spider's moving up, so it's very healthy. And let's see, I'm going to go through some stocks that I want to possibly that are on my watch list, and maybe they would work for you on your watch list. So here they go. Let's see. One of the stocks, of course, and I keep talking about this, is Tesla. Now, I'm actually in Tesla. I expect if Tesla exceeds 825 tomorrow, I'll be called out of the stock. But the actual true buy point on this Tesla stock right now, and it's closing in on this, is 869.92. This is a very important number because if Tesla goes above this number, it's probably going to go to 1,000. If not, it's probably going to stay in this trading range for a while. But the trading range for the volatility on Tesla has been moving down, which is really good. That means that people are basically coming back into the stock, and some of the big institutional investors are coming into the stock. Okay, so hey Jim, what do you think of Occidental Petroleum? Stay away, run away, run away from Oxy. Here's the problem that with Oxy has. Occidental was a perfectly great company. It was doing great in the Permian Basin, and everything was good. But they got this. They have a CEO there that wanted to get big, and what happened is the CEO merged with Anadarko. It's another kind of a big E&P company. Well, they overpaid for this acquisition. This is right before the coronavirus thing hit, right? This was basically in February. They basically went to Warren Buffett begging for money. And guess what? Warren Buffett did not disappoint. He gave him money at 13.5% interest. They are screwed. I believe that Occidental Petroleum is in a very, very bad way, and basically they've sold their soul to the country store. That country store being Warren Buffett. So there is a big investor in there. Carl Icahn is in there, but you know what? That is for the big fish with billions of dollars. I would stay away. Just my opinion. What do you think of covered calls? Well, I do covered calls all the time. That's how I enter stocks. I'm telling you, it's the safest way to go. Basically, what I'm looking at is stocks that are near breakout. For instance, I have 2 covered calls on Facebook right now and 1 on Tesla. And this is how I generate monthly and weekly income. I like to make money every week if I possibly can. I know that's a little bit different than the buy and hold type investors, but I'm looking to make cash flow every week. And here's the thing with covered calls, and here's the thing with options like that. If you do covered calls and you do them correctly, you will generate an income because 70% of the time, if you're selling an option, especially a call, you will make money on that, and the buyer will lose. This is one of the reasons I typically sell options, and I don't buy them as much. I sell puts, and I also sell calls. Now, if you're selling a call, especially a covered call, and of course, let me define what a covered call is. A covered call is where you actually own the stock and then you sell the call to buy it back from you at a higher price, typically at a later time, and then that premium you keep if the stock is if it's exercise, if the call is exercised, then you have to sell it at the strike price. But if it isn't, you keep the premium, so it's a great way to generate some income. And I just wanted to to put that out there. Let's see. Okay. Should I roll up and out of the call? Okay. Well, let me ask you this. What is, first of all, is the call, let's see, did it purchase this? Okay. I purchased CCL and Spirit Airlines. Both have gone up significantly a month. Keep or sell? Sell. Here's the thing about the airlines. The other shoe hasn't dropped on that. I think that was an excellent trade, by the way. It took some serious cojones to do that. But I don't. Spirit Airlines is very, very vulnerable. They have a lot of debt, and I do think that the travel is going to come back faster than we thought it was. But if you've got a profit, a bird in hand is way to go. Take your profit and then look around for better opportunities. I think you're going to do extremely well, and that's a great way to go. And I think that's awesome. What should I do if the stock goes above my call? Just do nothing, and I'll tell you why. Because if it goes above your call and your exercise, guess what? You make money on the call, the premium, and you make money selling the stock. Now, do you have the underlying stock or not? Well, here's the thing. If you here's this is the thing about calls, especially if you're selling calls and they're naked, what they call naked calls. A naked call is when you don't have the underlying stock. Now, if you don't have the underlying stock, and it goes above your call price, well, then you might want to consider buying that call back. And the reason that you would do that is because, of course, you have to exercise on that call. So let's say I'm just taking Facebook, for example, you have sold you have sold a 225 call that expires tomorrow, and the stock is trading at, say, 230. Let's just say that. If you did not buy back that call, you will be required to buy the stock in order to uh, in, in order to cover that call. So that's the reason I like to be covered. I like to buy the stock and then sell the call on that. But you can just buy back the call. Now, you can also roll it out where you can potentially sell another call further out and then buy back the call, giving you more time to exercise on that. So that's another way you can go on that. Um, and that's another way you can go. So let's see. What do you think of Nikola Motors? Well, I think they're in a great space, but again, here's the problem with Nikola Motors. I just don't think that, in terms of, I think the company is great, and I think it definitely is going that way, but I think they're an acquisition target, and I think Tesla is the leader. If you want to be in a space, I think you've got to be. If you want to be in the EV space, I think you've got to be in Tesla. I think I really believe, considering the alternatives, it's basically the way to go on that. So it's not that I dislike Nikola Motors. I just don't think it took Tesla, quite a few years to get to the point it is at, and now it's there. Now, talking about another long-term leader, Microsoft is in a buy zone, believe it or not, and this is incredible because Microsoft has been in a buy zone numerous times. It's basically a buy up to about 185. Now, this is a totally slow and steady stock, but as you can see, it's up $2.24 today, which is almost 1%. So, this is pretty incredible for a company that's like 40, 50 years old, and believe it or not, they are at this point. It's just amazing. If you'll notice, it's got a composite rating of 99, and even though this is a very, very boring trade, I'm not gonna sit here and say that, oh yeah, this is super duper exciting trade. But man, if you want to make a good return, this stock is in the buy range and it's probably going higher. Microsoft at 184, basically buyable up to about 185. So there you go. Hey man, how are you? I'm pretty good. Thank you very much, Joker96. Appreciate that. I'm pretty good. I'm feeling good. So let's see. I'm gonna see if we can have any content from the web here. So okay, let's see. And I'm going to show. This is a very good question, and I want to talk to everybody out there on Twitter. We're getting basically the comment is, and I don't know if it's appeared on the screen yet. I think it's just appearing on the screen. Is it time to short the S&P yet? No. And here's the reason you don't want to short the S&P. I'll go back to the S&P slide here so that you can see that. I'm going to go back to the S&P slide. And I want to show you something on this. If you'll notice, it has not met resistance yet. You see, what you'll find is that what'll happen is that the stock will be going up, and then it will meet resistance, and you'll get what they call railroad tracks. It's a kind of a chart pattern where it goes up one day and it comes down the other, but the range it's range bound, and it's going to be range bound. And then once it's range bound, then you want to see a reversal to the downside. Once the reversal is started and it breaks below the 40-day moving average, this is this red line here on the chart, that's when you want to short it. You don't want to short it now. It's just too dangerous to short it right now. Now, for instance, if this had turned to a movement below the 40-day moving average here in the earlier part of May, then this would have been a shorting opportunity, but it wouldn't have been a shorting opportunity until it broke below the 40-day moving average. So right now, I know it's tough. Hold on. I do think we're going to have an opportunity, but right now, not so much, unfortunately. Next question, and this is a question from YouTube. Thanks for everybody looking at me on YouTube. I so appreciate everybody looking at me on YouTube. This is a question regarding PayPal, and this is one of my favorite stocks, by the way. I'll just be just for disclosure here, I've been in PayPal many times. I may be going back into PayPal. I really, really like it. I really like the stock. And basically, I think it's buyable. It's not currently in a buying range, but that doesn't mean that I'm not I'm not interested in it. I think PayPal is the future. I think it's a better financial stock. People are talking about the financials of the banks today, and everybody is trying to buy into that, and that's great. JP Morgan and all this. These are great banks, but I don't really think they're the future. I kind of think they're the past. I think PayPal is the future, at least in terms of banking. And the reason I believe this is because I think that PayPal is the kind of stock that is going to do very, very well in the future. And that the reason for that is in PayPal is going to be is going to be a absolutely there all the time, because people are moving away from bank accounts, but everybody has a PayPal account. I know that I have two PayPal accounts. I've had them for a long time. Great company. So PayPal is definitely a good buy. I just think it's I just think it's a very good way to go. Next question from I forgot here from Periscope, and this is basically a question. I'm trying to see it here. Again, I'm having issues again with bandwidth. Hopefully by next week I'm going to have my new Mac Pro, and it's all going to be working, and I'm going to get off this Windows machine, which is kind of stinking up the joint. But all right, now I'm a little bit slow in terms of the bandwidth constraints. Okay, so space stock. Here's the problem with space. That's Virgin Galactic. I did make some, full disclosure here, I made some very good money in space before the first quarter earnings. I sold right before the earnings. And by the way, on speculative stocks, this is kind of a good thing, good habit to get in with. If you see people moving into the stock and it's coming up on earnings, you basically, definitely want to go in, ride the wave up there a little bit, but sell before the earnings because they're very unpredictable. And sure enough, with Virgin Galactic, unfortunately, they're experiencing serious cash flow problems. As you well know, Branson's airline, this Virgin Airlines is basically bleeding cash right now, and it's very unfortunate. But I wouldn't be in space right now just because. And I'm not against the stock. I love the space stocks, but the thing is, I would take a wait see attitude before committing capital to it, just because it may or may not survive, and that's unfortunate. What MacBook are you getting? Well, actually, I'm getting an old Mac Pro, believe it or not, because I'm trying to, get a decent video feed here. So, I should have done this a long time ago. The only reason I used Windows for so long is because I use a lot of spreadsheets, and I was kind of a financial centric. But the Macintosh definitely is a better platform. There's just there's no two ways around it. Their phones are better. It's just the kind of thing that pretty much everything is better on the Macintosh. Okay, with Trump's social platform, executive order, tech stocks like Facebook, Twitter, Snap may take a hit. I think you're right, but I don't think Facebook is going to take a hit. If you'll notice, I don't know if you noticed this on what Zuckerberg had to say today. At first I didn't have hardly. I came very late to the party to Facebook, and I was very skeptical of Zuckerberg, but I think he's a lot shrewder than I definitely anticipated him being. He stayed out of this political fight between the president and the Democrats, which is very, very smart. Dick Dorsey, unfortunately, is not as savvy on that point, and I think his Twitter stock is going to get hammered a little bit because of it. I think Zuckerberg is taking a much better approach, saying, "Hey, I'm for free speech, and we can't be the world's policeman," which I think is absolutely the right way to go, and I'm very impressed with him. At first, not so much. I am now. I think that he's definitely shown the right kind of leadership, and you may disagree with me, but everything. It seems like he sort of has the Midas touch, at least for right now, and a lot of the stuff that he's touching with Facebook seems to be successful. So I'm in the stock, and I'm very bullish on Facebook. Even after this coronavirus thing, I think it's going to become much more part of our life. I think the new platforms that they have, are excellent, and they're taking market share. And Facebook is not going to be denied. I mean, it's true. It's not the size of a Google or an Alphabet, but it's definitely a player, and that's just going to be the way it is. So, that's just the way it is. Okay, let's see. I'm going to cover a interesting play. I'm not in this play yet. I'm waiting to see sort of how this play sets up for tomorrow, which is Friday, because I'm thinking of buying this play. But I want to show you that this play first. Again, I'm on Periscope and on YouTube. Periscope at PSCP TV. slash Dallas Trading Floor, and on YouTube at youtube.com/ Dallas Trading Floor. But this is a stock. This is Fortinet. This is a play in the cybersecurity area, and I think it's the number one stock right now in the group, which is excellent. I do think I do think this one has legs, and that's the way I'm showing it today. It's currently at 137.13, which is kind of expensive, but it's almost up over 4% today. The volume's down a little bit, but it's setting up for a very nice pattern, for a very nice pattern moving higher. I do have an options play on it, and I wanted to show you that. It's basically, my normal get into it covered call. It's a 22-day play on the stock. And basically the way it goes, it's pretty simple. You buy 100 shares of the stock, currently selling for a price of 136.38. It's a little bit expensive in terms of that, which maybe a turn off for a lot of people, but if you get your money back in 21 to 22 days, I think it's worth it. You then simultaneously sell a call, a June 19th 140 call, and that gives you, at least when I showed this, it gives you a basically an option profit on that of 314 and a 362 upside. So you're looking at a potential total profit, if everything goes right and it closes above 140, you're looking at $676 basically for doing nothing for 22 days. Basically a 2.3% return on the option, and then a 2.7% return on the upside if it trades above 140 on June 19th, for a total of 83% return on your money annualized, which is not bad for basically doing nothing. So that is my trade of the day. It's Fortinet. It's a great stock. It's a leader. It's on the IBD 50. It is in a very, very strong space, the computer security space. Definitely something that you possibly want to look into in terms of a trade. And again, the trades that I've been showing basically are trades that I am making myself. I'm not just putting these out there to put them out there. I'm considering making these trades myself. I typically look at the potential of all the trades, and then I pick typically the top 20% of the trades that I produce. What is your opinion of FRX? Good question. I don't know that. I don't have my Quotron up right now, so I can't give you an opinion on FRX, but I will write it down, and maybe I can get something when I'm offline. So it's Mr. Flex, Mr. Flex, BREH1. Okay, and that's FRX. All right, I will see if I can put something together for you and then message you on that later. I'm sorry I don't have that. Forex trading. Well, you know what, Forex is a great way to make some money out there. I currently, it's funny, in your trading career, I think you trade, various things. You really got to learn how to trade them all. Forex is definitely in there. You either trade Forex, you trade options like I do, or you trade equities. I'm primarily right now, just because just because of the way the market is setting up, I'm not a bond trader right now because the yields are very low, and I'm also really only trading U.S. equities. Why? Because the return is there, and that's where I am. I'm where the return is, and right now, I think that some of the best opportunities in the market worldwide are in U.S. equities. So it's that's the reason I don't really trade forex all that much right now, but you can definitely do extremely well with forex. So it's just it's just my personal preference. I'm always looking to maximize my time and maximize my gain. And typically, for me, that is by trading, by trading what I think is doing the best. And right now, we're in an absolutely very fascinating time in the market, and we're in a time when you can very successfully trade individual stocks, especially tech stocks, and I definitely do it all the time. So that's where I am. Do you like dividend stocks? Well, I do some dividend stocks. One of my recommendations today was Microsoft, which, I mean, talk about Captain Obvious. I know that people go, yawn. Well, I knew about Microsoft. What does it take this guy, Jim Malone? What's this guy? Why is he recommending it? Well, you just look at everything. You look at the market, and you go, wow. They pay a dividend. They have a 98 composite rating, and they're in a buy zone. So that's why I'm in. That's why I'm in Microsoft. Most of the time, though, I am not a fan of dividend stocks. Why? Because here's the reason that many companies pay a dividend. And I know this is harsh, and you may disagree with me, but they pay a dividend to keep the long-term capital around. The real action is in the growth stocks, folks. It really is. It's in the tech stocks right now because that's where the money in the market is moving. So companies that don't have that tech, that aren't in tech, they as and they're older, they will try to pay a dividends to keep people in them. I mean, the king of this is AT&T, which at one time was the most widely held stock. It has the more debt than any other company in the world. And here's the thing: if we enter a period of deflation, and that's really the reason that the Fed pumped so much money into the economy was to keep deflation at bay. What do I mean by deflation? Well, in deflation, the value of actual cash increases and not other goods. So actual asset values fall. Now, this is what happened in the Great Depression. This is the reason why the Fed flooded the zone with all of this liquidity, basically to make sure that the momentum didn't move to the downside. And I think it's worked. I actually think it's worked, believe it or not. Uh, Typically, the best economies are slightly inflationary, not highly inflationary like Argentina or anything, but slightly inflationary, and that's I think what we're going to return to close to the election. So, a long story on that, but um, is BA a buy right now? Here's the thing about Boeing. I shorted Boeing in March, and I did pretty well shorting Boeing. I think Boeing is really a tough one, and I'll tell you why. They've just announced at Boeing that they're going to be laying off, I think, something like 15,000 people. Well, I typically don't like to buy stocks. I don't think you can cut your way out and make your stock grow. I think Boeing has some serious issues, and one of these is in the space area, and that is SpaceX and Boeing both competed on this private launch alternative. Boeing got $4.1 million for their Starliner. It was a failure. It did not work. And Tesla and Elon Musk and SpaceX got about about $3.2 billion, which is a tremendous amount of money. If they launch successfully on Saturday, Boeing's space business, which is one of its most profitable areas, is probably not going to do as well as it has in the past. So I am not a long-term bull on Boeing. Sadly, I mean it's a great American company, but I just don't want to be in it right now. I just don't. I think they have a lot of problems, and I just don't think I don't think they're the future. Unfortunately, I mean it's painful for me to say that because it is. They have in the past made some incredibly great things. Isn't Boeing too big to fail? Well, I don't think they'll fail. But here's the thing: when a government takes over a company, just imagine General Motors when they declared bankruptcy in the Obama administration. When they declared bankruptcy, at one time, you know, General Motors was one of the greatest stocks to own, and they were doing great. But since they declared bankruptcy and they became essentially a government, they were bailed out by the government. Their stock has never recovered, and this is a huge company. And I think, unfortunately, that's sort of where Boeing may be going. They may be becoming kind of a ward of the state, and unfortunately, I don't think they have the mojo technically anymore. And it's sad because, you know, m- my entire life I've seen Boeing and I've admired them. One of the things I did when I was younger is I actually went all the way out from Washington D.C. to Everett, Washington, just to go to the 747 assembly building in Everett, Washington. And I thought it was one of the greatest things I ever saw. But unfortunately, I just don't think they have the mojo anymore, and I just wouldn't be a buyer of Boeing long term. Now I'd trade it though, but I wouldn't be a buyer of them long term. Do you think Disney Plus can overtake Netflix? Well, I think Disney Plus really has a different space. I don't think they're going to overtake Netflix necessarily, but I do think they're going to be a force when it comes. I do think they're going to be a force when it comes to streaming. I do think they're going to be a force when it comes to streaming because one of the things about Disney is that they monetize their library so well, and if anybody is below the age of about 13, they're going to be watching that Disney Channel. So I I think they're going to do very well. I was in a Disney play before earnings. It did not work out as well as I would have liked it to. I was short on it, just slightly. I did what they call a a bear call spread on it. I didn't. That's a kind of a safe way to play it, but it did not perform the way I liked it to. I think Disney is a very hard call because it's 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 both very strong in terms of its online presence with Disney Plus, but it also has a lot of weakness. And I think the theme parks and the cruise lines, even after this coronavirus thing ends, is going to be a big drag. And so I currently cannot recommend them as a stock. Do you use the wheel strategy to maximize theta? Well, that's a good question. Now, for everybody out there, let me tell you what theta is. It sounds really, really, futuristic and fancy and like, wow, theta, what's theta? Well, theta is the time decay on the option. Okay, so let's say I take and I sell a call. For instance, I have two calls that are going to be expiring tomorrow on Facebook, and basically, as the expiration date gets closer, there is what they call the time decay on the option, meaning that if you've sold the option, it becomes worth less and less the closer you get to the option expiration date. So one of the ways that you can almost guarantee that you can make money is what they call with theta decay, by selling options that decay and decay with theta. I very much believe in making money this way. This is one of the reasons I really like weekly options. Typically, if I see that I'm moderately bullish on a stock, for instance, Facebook, I'll go in with the first position, and then I'll sell a call, and then if it looks good, I'll buy a little bit more, I'll sell another call, and so forth. And by it getting closer to the expiration of the option, that theta decay actually brings me profit every week. So I'm very, very big on that. And I would like to explain it more in detail, and hopefully I'm going to try to make some videos on it, but it's a very powerful way to make money on a weekly basis. Just cash flow is with the theta decay. And so I do kind of like to turn my money over, and I like to have that theta decay working in my favor. Now, what does that mean? Well, what that means is typically if you're a seller of options, specifically calls, your likelihood of making a profit because of that theta decay is far better than if you're a buyer of them. Typically 70% of the time, depending on the option, if you sell the option correctly, you are going to come out positive on that. And those are the kind of odds that I like, because I can rinse and repeat and do them over and over again and make money on them. And that's a big deal for me. You know, that's a big deal for me. Let's see, I'm gonna show another comment here from Periscope. Market Trader, really like that you're looking at me on Periscope. But I really love Periscope, and I wish that they had a scheduler on it. I got to learn more about it, but it's really great because they're just technically better than a lot of other companies. So, and the question really is, and this is for people on TikTok, is what do you think? Do you think the spider is going to go up next week? And um, I do believe that the spider is potentially going to move higher. And you know, I've come at this. I've come at this. You know, I've come at this idea sort of belatedly, because I was expecting that we were going to see some resistance at you know, at 275 on the spider, but it's well above 300, and it looks like it's going higher. So you know, I don't think I made, you know, fortunately I didn't short it. I mean, the last time I shorted it was at the end of April, the end of May, end of March, early April, and I'm glad I didn't, you know, give in to you know, my view that I was shorting it. So I'm glad I didn't do that, because I could have gotten really killed on it. But basically, I just want to show you. I've put up the chart of the spider again. As you can see, and I haven't drawn the trend lines in here, but if you draw a trend line, it definitely is an upward trend. And if you'll notice, there's strong support. This is in the lower part of the chart. There's typically these bars on the bottom. If they're blue, typically that means there's strong volume support, and there's more people buying them at a higher price. That's very bullish. I don't think I think the spider is probably going to go higher, and it may go above 310, and it's well above the 40-day moving average. So I at this point I wouldn't bet on it. I may make a slight correction because we've been up 4 days out of the last 4 days, which is incredible. I think tomorrow will be a down day just because of the momentum. I think the market is gonna kind of digest what's going on here, but I wouldn't bet against the spider. We're in a confirmed uptrend. There's just no question about it. What's your favorite buy and hold company? Well, currently, my favorite buy and hold, and 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 you're gonna look at me like, what are you talking about? But my favorite buy and hold company, hands down, is Microsoft. I've been trading Microsoft successfully for the last 3 years. I've been trading it since it was 68. It was trading for 68, and the reason I started trading it, and this is just a word out to everybody out there, I hadn't traded Microsoft literally for 18 years. I waited literally to buy it until it exceeded, adjusted for splits, the price that it had achieved in basically December of 1999. It took 18 years to get back above that to the new high, which is 68. And I think it's not looking back, it's going higher. If you want to buy and hold stock, I think that you could do a lot worse than Microsoft, and it does pay a dividend. And no, there are other stocks out there that you're going to make better pops on, but I think that buy and hold, I don't think you're going to lose on Microsoft over 6 or 8 months. Opinions about buying stocks for dividend income. Well, here's the thing about dividend, and I'm gonna cover a strategy I call dividend capture. This is a very low risk strategy, and basically what you do is you find a stock, you go in it, and you buy it the day before the day of record, and then because you're on the day of record, then uh, then you typically will sell the stock, but because you're the owner on the day of record, you get the earnings on that, and that can be a very good strategy. It was a strategy really that was developed in Japan, and I'm going to cover some dividend capture activity. It's typically a lower risk strategy than holding the stocks for a long period of time. So that is the strategy that I like on dividends. I am not. There are people out there that just buy dividend stocks and they just let them go forever. If you're going to do that, you're better off to buy the QQQ, which is the Nasdaq 100 ETF, because that does pay dividends from the Nasdaq 100 stocks to do pay dividends. But actually, if you want to do a dividend play, there are some very good ETFs out there. But dividend capture is definitely the way to go. And I'm going to write that down because I'm going to try to produce something on what dividend capture is as a trading strategy. All right. Capture, great. All right. DraftKings thoughts. Well, I don't know. Opinion on Boeing. Well, Brady Rob, 21. My opinion on Boeing is I growing up, I just thought Boeing was the greatest thing ever, but I am not impressed with Boeing anymore. I don't know if you know this, but they're laying off 15,000 people now. Here's the thing: typically, you can't lay off people regardless of what they tell you, if you're laying off people, you're not growing profitable. So I wouldn't be a buyer of Boeing. Now, they're going to issue, and I don't know when this is going to happen. I don't think that, but they're getting ready. If there's a successful launch on Saturday of the SpaceX, they're probably going to file for an IPO. I do believe that SpaceX is going to be a tremendous IPO. It's not going to be viable. I don't think it's going to be viable right out of the gate, but I do think it's going to be a tremendous IPO. Now, here's the problem with Boeing. Boeing's most profitable segment is the commercial aircraft segment, but because of the coronavirus thing and the lack of travel, you have about 3/4 of the world's aircraft that are parked right now. So the demand for the 737 MAX and other things just isn't that good. Also, they've been losing ground to Airbus, and this is painful for me to say this because for a long time I didn't believe this, but they have been losing ground to to Airbus, and Airbus does now have a facility to build to build aircraft in Mobile, Alabama, so they don't have the problem with the domestic or international. They can build right here in the U.S. So uh, unfortunately, I'm not a fan of um, of Boeing. I'm not familiar with the George Floyd incident. That's interesting. I'm not from crypto. Okay, crypto. Um, there is a the only way I would be in crypto is in an ETF. There is an ETF. Um, I think it's GBX. I can't. I should write this down because I'm not in it. But basically, what it is they have approximately 4% of the world's supply of Bitcoin, and it's trading about 12. And I can't bring it up on my screen. This is one of the reasons why I'm upgrading to Macintosh, because I just don't have the ability to show you this. But so that's how I would play it. Must not be in. I am not. By the way, this is uh, Kitchen Farmer. Yeah, must not be a licensed advisor or insurance broker. I am not. I don't. I all this. What I'm doing here is I'm showing you how I trade. I don't accept any people's money to trade. This is just purely for educational purposes. I'm just showing you how I trade the stock, and these my recommendations are just purely my own. I'm not licensed, and I'm not a broker, and I'm not an insurance agent. I'm not a real estate agent, though I have all three. GBX is not it. Oh, I'm sorry. I gave you the wrong one. What do you think about Norbit's game? I don't know what that is. What kind of? Oh, thanks, fan. I appreciate that. Uh, can somebody come and join and trade with you? Absolutely. Well, you live in Houston. Well, we're actually up here in Dallas. I love Houston. I've spent a lot of time down there. Great town. Especially, I did some contracts around the Memorial area, out on an area called near what they call Derry Ashford Road. Very nice area. I have friends down there. Absolutely, you can definitely come up uh, to Dallas anytime you're in Dallas. We're at the corner of Preston Road and McCallum, and just give me a ring, and if you're interested, come on by. So, what's your favorite TV show? I don't watch a lot of TV, unfortunately. Is Nvidia green to? Yeah, I I think it probably is. Now, here's what happened on Nvidia. I had a position in Nvidia, but it dropped below my 7% stop loss. So I was stopped out. I'm very strict about this. I didn't re-enter the stock because because but I do I do think it's a good stock. It dropped below my stop loss, so I was stopped out of the stock, and that's kind of how I played it. Um, do you withdraw your gains or you know what? Here's what I do on my gains. That very good question, by the way. What I do is I mark my gains every week. I like to generate income every week, preferably every day if I can. I can't always do that, but every week. And then what I'll do is at the end of the month, I set a goal, and then what I do is I withdraw half of it, I put it into a cash account. And then I have that in reserve in case things, and then I earn money on that cash account, and then I withdraw from that cash account. So that's how I do it. I take I I'm I make typically try to make money every week by selling covered calls that expire, and selling stock at higher prices for short moves. And then at the end of every month, I look to see what I have made. I divide that in half. I take half of it into a cash account, and then from the cash account, I withdraw from that. So that's a great question. Thanks. I will. Okay, absolutely. Just send me a private message, or by the way, if you're interested, you can call me after the show. Currently, it'll just go to voicemail, but my phone number here in Dallas is area code 214-233-5087. 214-233-5087. So if you want to call me, hey, no problem. Just call me. Or better than that, if you could pop on over to my website. It's not the greatest website in the world. I'm going to improve that, but it's dallastradingfloor.com. In the comment section, just leave your name and address, and I will get back to you. So that's a good way to go. Do you think Tesla 4000? You know, it's it. I don't like I'm not very good at predicting that far in the future, like 10 years. But I do think that Tesla if Tesla moves above the 869 level and holds it for a day or two, I think it's going to 1,000. I really do. Uh, I know that's hard to believe. Even I had to sell out of the stock when the last time Elon Musk basically tweeted out, "Oh, I think Tesla stock's too high." Well, it went down. I had to sell out, but I'm back in, so I do think it's going to go higher. One more time. Okay. The number one more time. Okay, my number in Dallas here is area code 214-233-5087. That's 214-233-5087. Do you think Telvin is overvalued? Well, yes, but I also think that there's momentum to go into the stock. And here's what's happening with Tesla. Why is Tesla going so high? Well, the reason Tesla is going so high is because everybody's looking at the future and they're going, wow, electric vehicles really are the future, and we've got to get a position in that. So all the funds that are looking at that would have normally invested in things like GM and Ford and those kind of companies are going, wow, we've got to get a position in it. We got to buy Tesla. So it is pushing it up artificially high. But that's what I'm trying to do. I'm just a minnow. I'm just swimming along behind those whales, trying to see where they're going, trying to see what they're eating, and kind of get in the stream a little bit and eat what they're eating too. So that's why I think Tesla is probably going higher. I think that companies are going to have to own it, because I think electric vehicles, and autonomous cars and that kind of thing, it is going to happen. And right now they have about a 3 to 5 lead on the rest of the industry. So a lot of people have to be in it. How did Nikola and VTIQ merger going to impact Tesla? I don't think it's going to impact them that much, but I do think that Tesla, that Nikola. By the way, this is an interesting company because they're typically in the truck segment, which I think is an extremely good segment to be in. I do think that there's going to be interest, but I do see what's going to happen is eventually somebody like International Harvester, well, I call them International Navistar, some incumbent truck player is probably going to have to buy them in the future to get the technology. But I think Tesla has too big of a lead right now, too much of market share. So that's what I think. Is Square Payments a good stock? Well, here's the problem I have with Square. You know, there, by the way, two companies that Jack Dorsey is the CEO of, one of course being Twitter and the other one being Square. Square has a very good um, Square has a very good plan out there in terms of in terms of the market share that they're going after with with small businesses. But I do think that a better play would be PayPal. It's just more stable. SQQQ. I wouldn't be in the SQQQ right now because it looks as if um, it looks as if the Nasdaq is going to go higher. I mean, I know that's amazing. So you don't want to be in the SQQQ. Here's what the SQQQ does. The SQQQ was great. I was recommending it in the downturn. I think people did well. It shorts the Nasdaq 100. I wouldn't be in it right now. We're in a confirmed uptrend. It's dangerous to play the SQQQ right now. What's your opinion of Trump's threat to social? I don't think it's a real threat because, quite frankly, quite frankly, social media is here. It's going to be around. Here I am on Twitter. Here I am on TikTok. Um, it's going to be around. I don't think it's going to be a threat. I do think though that Zuckerberg is handling it far better than anybody else, and I'm. And that's why I'm in Tesla stock, and that's why I'm not in Twitter. just to be honest, I don't think it's going to matter. I think.